I'm having 50 cm cube of carbon dioxide was exploded with 150 cm cube of air containing 20% oxygen by volume. We asked which of the reactants was in excess. So the question is just explaining that carbon dioxide was exploded in what? 150 cm cube of what? Air. Do you understand? And the air was containing what? 20% oxygen by volume. We all know that the percentage composition of air of oxygen in air is 20 to 21%. I hope it makes sense. Now here, if carbon dioxide is exploded with what? Air. What happens? It is oxidized to what? Carbon dioxide. Now, have you taken my statement? I wasn't do well to what? Take it. So carbon dioxide being exploded in air, it will be what? Oxidized to what? To be oxidized to what? Carbon dioxide. So this is what? Equation for the reaction. So I'm having carbon dioxide reacting with what? Oxygen, and it will give what? Carbon dioxide. So let's balance. So by balancing, I have how many atoms of oxygen? I have 2 plus 1 here, 3. So how many atoms of oxygen do I have? I have 2. So what if I put 2 here? You see that oxygen becomes what? 2 times 2, 4 atoms of what? Oxygen, right? Now it means that I'll put 2 here. So watch it now. 2 atoms of oxygen, because 2 times 1 is 2 plus this 2, 4. Now 2 times 2, 4. Oxygen is balanced. What of carbon? Carbon is 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 1, 2. So this is the equation for the reaction of what? Carbon dioxide reacting with what? Oxygen, and they will give what? Carbon dioxide. So looking at this thing now, take a good look at it. You will find out that normally 2 volume or 2 moles, let's take volume. 2 volume of what? Carbon dioxide is required to react with what? 1 volume of what? Oxygen. 2 volume of what? Carbon dioxide is required to react with what? 1 volume of what? Oxygen. So in other words, we'll take it that 2 cm cube of what? 2 cm cube of what? Carbon dioxide is required to react with what? 1 cm cube of what? Oxygen. The next question we ask ourselves is, since 50 cm cube of carbon dioxide was exploded with 150 cm cube of what? Air containing. But in that 150 cm cube of air, we've seen that from our equation of what? Reaction, that it was oxygen that had to do something. Do you understand? It had to do something with what? Carbon dioxide. So we have to ask ourselves, how many cm cube, or what's the volume of oxygen that we can see from that 150 cm cube of what? Air. So normally, we know that, let's say that this 150 cm cube of what? 150 cm cube of air is 100%. Now, if 150 cm cube of air is what? 100 what? Percent. Now, out of that 100%, oxygen is 20% by volume. So we ask ourselves, what will be the volume of what? Oxygen. Do you understand? Since oxygen is 20% by volume, what is it now? What? Volume. Does it make sense? So if we cross multiply, let's call here y. Cross multiplication, 150 times 20 is 1,500 times 2, right? Which is 3,000. Does it make sense? Now, 100 times y is 100y. So we have to divide both sides over 100 over what? 100. Cancel. Cancel 0, cancel 0, cancel 0, cancel 0. So we have that y is equals 30 cm cube. Have you seen it? That out of 150 cm cube of what? Air, that we have 30 cm cube of oxygen. So it means that since we are having that 30 cm cube of oxygen, we have to check whether it is carbon dioxide that was in excess or what? Oxygen that was in excess. So watch, if 50 cm cube of carbon dioxide was exploded with 150 cm cube of air. So normally, looking at here, if I'm having 50 cm cube of carbon dioxide, now this 50 cm cube of carbon dioxide is meant to react with 25 cm cube of oxygen. True or false? It is true. Reason, from an equation of reaction, we've seen that 2 volume of carbon dioxide is meant to react with 1 volume of oxygen. So 2 to react with 1. Therefore, 50 cm cube of carbon dioxide is meant to react with 25 cm cube of oxygen, because 2 to 1, 50 to be what? To 25. Does it make sense? That division by what? 2. I hope you understand. So watch. Now, but the one that reacted, the oxygen that reacted is what? 30 cm cube of oxygen. So that tells us that oxygen was in excess, because normally, at normal circumstance, the oxygen that's in the volume of oxygen that was meant to come into reaction is what? 25 centimeter what? Cube. But 30 cm cube was seen. So it means that we have 5 cm cube that did not react. Does it make sense? Therefore, our answer becomes what? Oxygen was in excess. Have a nice day. Please, I would like you to help me by sharing what? This video. Bye bye.